Good morning, hi, this is Fran Penberthy back for the final week, reason 6 on why weight is so darn tricky to lose. And what we're looking at today is no time to recharge. Have you caught the other 5 videos? If not, please do scroll back and find those and catch up, because what we're going to do today is that we're going to look at, I better tell you what it is, hadn't I? So what we're looking at today, no time to recharge, we're looking at sleep, getting enough sleep. Now please do not go to sleep right now, I've got so much to tell you. But so what I'm going to do is change this to, instead of no time to recharge, and I've called it that because so many people actually try to burn the candle at both ends. They're constantly on their devices late at night, you know, whether it's computer, phone, whatever it is. All of that just so disrupts our sleep and robs us of quality sleep. So what I'm going to say is 7 to 9 hours of sleep. That is what the optimum amount is of sleep. Are you getting anywhere near that? If not, we're going to look at the connections between actually the other 5 that we've already looked at and how they impact directly on our sleep. And in return, we're going to have a look at how poor sleep impacts back to all of these different areas. And don't forget, the focus of all of this is losing weight. So we need to take all of this into account when we are thinking about how to go about it successfully. There was a study done on women, it ran over 16 years, and what they found was that women that got 5 hours or less sleep a night were putting on at least 33 pounds in weight over that period, rather than the people that slept well. So there is that direct link that actually if we're not sleeping enough, then it definitely impacts our weight. What I want to do is go back over these 5 and say how they link in to the poor sleep. So if you resonated with any of these over the weeks and you suffer from poor sleep, listen up, because I'm going to make the connections now. So if you have had that history of dieting, you've constantly been skipping meals, reducing your nutrient intake, your food intake, then you've been encouraging your body to go into that survival mode. What that does is that really disrupts your blood sugar levels as well. And the way that that impacts on your sleep is that if you've had roller coastering blood sugars during the day, then during the night your blood sugars will drop down low. And the body will then kickstart the stress reaction so that some sugar can be released into your bloodstream. That will wake you up, sometimes with a start, because you are suddenly releasing adrenaline, and that can wake you up quite sharply, and you might have your heart pounding, that kind of thing. That could be that adrenaline is actually just trying to rectify that low blood sugar level. The other thing, of course, that's going to kick in, we're back to number 2, cortisol. Cortisol is going to kick in at that point. And we know that once cortisol is being overworked, then it starts to create that apple shape around the middle. If cortisol is being very disrupted, and so that normal cycle of cortisol is supposed to be pumped out high in the mornings, low in the evenings, there's a natural rhythm to it. But if that's been completely disrupted, then what happens is that you are wide awake at night and you're really sleepy during the day. And that can be because cortisol levels are just out of whack. The other thing that poor sleep can do is that actually impacts on the leptin hormone levels. Do you remember that's the hormone that tells you that you're full and you don't need to eat anymore? But when you've got you only just have to have 6 nights of poor sleep, and it has affected the leptin levels by 20%. They've dropped. And the opposite hormone to that, do you remember ghrelin, which is the one that makes you feel hungry? that's been increased by 30%. Result of that, you feel hungry and you eat more. So this is the connection starting. Now we go on to number 3, nutrients. How do nutrients help with sleep? Well, there are certain things that have to be created in the body in order for us to fall asleep. The main one is called melatonin. You may have heard of that. Well, melatonin is actually made from a sequence of events. Different things are made resulting in melatonin. So melatonin is made from serotonin. Serotonin is made from 5-HTP, and 5-HTP comes from tryptophan, which is an amino acid. What does all this mean for us? What this means is that we need to be eating the raw materials that are actually going to create that process, ultimately leading to melatonin that is going to send you off to sleep. So what are these raw materials that we need, the nutrients that we need for that good night's sleep? Well, tryptophan is found in things like chicken, turkey, dairy products like milk and cheese. It's found in nuts and seeds. Those kind of foods got tryptophan. Also, the other nutrients are also found in those dark green leaves and the nuts and seeds as well. The other thing that can be disrupting that whole process, of course, is the high stress levels. Cortisol, adrenaline, all of these ones being pumped out. And so the nutrients that are really calming, very helpful for the stress reaction, are things like magnesium and calcium and the B vitamins, very needed for that stress reaction. Not only because they're being used up at a fast rate, but because they're needed to calm everything down. And we're going to find those in similar foods actually. It's the dark green leaves, it's the green vegetables, the nuts and the seeds, the dairy products, the good quality meats. That's where we're going to find those lovely nutrients that are going to help with that whole area. And don't forget, when we're thinking about toxin, again, number 3, it's when we're asleep that so much of our repairing goes on. A body is busy repairing, regenerating, cells are growing, and we need to allow our body plenty of time to rest and repair and to recover from all the things that we throw at it during the day. So going on to number 4, what does our gut have to do with our sleep? Well, do you know, we've got more neurotransmitters in our gut than we've actually got in our brain. It's often referred to as the second brain. And so how we're feeling, the stress, you know, the blood sugar levels, all of that sort of churning that's going on inside, all of that imbalance so affects the neurotransmitters. And that is going to affect our sleep. It means that our mind is running. You know, we can't calm down. And then that is going to rob us of sleep. Number 5, exercise. Well, you know, exercise is so essential for good sleep. We need to be working hard and sleeping hard. But what we don't want is to be exercising within 3 hours of bed. If you have trouble sleeping, then do not do your exercise within 3 hours of going to bed, because that is just going to pump up that stress reaction and it's not giving the body time enough just to calm down and get into that sleepy state. So if sleep is your problem, make sure you exercise during the day, and that gives you a double benefit, because if you can exercise outside, then you are exposing yourself to daylight, and daylight during the day is essential for making that melatonin later on. So if you work in an office, you know, whatever it is, try and get out at lunchtime, you know, or walk to work in the morning, whatever you can do to actually get exposed to some daylight. So I've got much more that I could say on this subject, and much more I am going to say later. But I'm going to leave you with these connections of how actually, if you have just had this dieting mentality to lose the weight, This, I'm hoping, is showing you that that is doomed to failure, because your body is so much more complicated than just calories in and calories out. All of this is going on. All of this needs to be taken into consideration. How do you do that? It's that you take the focus off dieting and counting calories, or whatever it is you do. Take your focus off that and put your focus onto being healthy. Make your focus how to be fit and strong, to ward off infection, to be managing stress well, to be, controlling those blood sugar levels. If you are looking at the big picture, then you will start to see success in the weight loss department. I'm sure of it. So I'm hoping that has definitely given you food for thought. And I will, as ever, be back here again next week with something new to teach you about the next piece of the puzzle in this whole picture of health. If you've enjoyed this, please share me some love, share this video with your friends, and I will see you next week.